The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Fall River's preliminary election comes up on September 16th, and we're trying to speak to the 5 candidates that are on the ballot for mayor on that date. Please be joined by the 3-term incumbent mayor seeking his 4th term, Mayor Paul Coogan. Mayor, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.
Keith, thanks for having me.
All right, thanks for coming.
Yep.
Now, first question, what went into your decision to run for a 4th term?
There's still more work to do. We know things we've started, the waterfront, some of the projects in the industrial park, some of the school buildings, expansion, pre-K. There's so many things going on that you want to finish up as much as you can. And I thought another term would get a good chunk of it done.
You know, I want to talk about a lot of things in the short time that we do have here, but I actually want to start with economic development. You mentioned, you know, things happening on the waterfront. Route 79 by hopefully this time next year could even be done in many ways in terms of the roadway being done. And then the next steps are going to be obviously what happens with that land.
Correct.
Do you want the city to have complete control of that? Is it okay to work with the state? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Listen, whatever happens down there, the city is the winner. Fall River's going to win, whether the state does it, the RDA does it. There's a combination of both. Whatever development goes along down there is going to develop a piece of parcel, a parcel that's better than any in the state. Right along the waterfront, 19 acres, jobs, housing, you know, commercial, residential. It's going to have all the components to make it successful. My preference, obviously, is for the redevelopment authority to handle it. But in working with our state delegation, seems like we're going that way. But at the same time, if the state says that's our land, we're going to develop it, we'll work with them also. I mean, we have a good rapport with all of the people at Mass Department of Transportation, the governor, the lieutenant governor. And no matter who does it, it's going to be successful.
And from what you've seen in the first, goodness, almost 6 months now of South Coast Rail, do you feel that's made a positive impact in the city, people coming into the city, and those of us happen to go to Boston as well?
Yeah, it has. The best story I heard was the other night when the Narrows had their concert down at the waterfront. People were literally getting off of the train with chairs to walk across the street and go to the concert. I thought that was so cool because there were people in front waiting to take the trolley that was doing a loop around to drop them off. But some people that were getting off the train said, heck, we can walk, it's right there. So it's good to see. And a train with our college students all going back to school in the fall, parents wanting to visit. I mean, for the cost, when you deal with parking up there, gasoline, the headaches of transportation, it's really a no-brainer. And I really feel great for the kids that are going to go to school, the parents that are going to visit. A friend of mine that had to go to regular treatment at Dana-Farber used it. He said it was a godsend. So, I mean, there's a lot of great potential there, and I just think it's going to keep building and building.
Other economic development opportunities, we've talked a lot in our weekly conversations about what's been happening in the Flint. Give us an update there. Well,
again, I was down on the Flint on Saturday. A new steakhouse opened up on the most southern side, or the eastern side of Pleasant Street, across from Baresi Apartments. There's an insurance company going in right along on Pleasant Street. There's a new storefront going on Avo's Feast. Our storefronts are getting done. There's a development project going on Pleasant Street. It's going to be 14 units. The zoning board approved an additional 14 units in the building next to it yesterday. I mean, last week. Some of it's going to be affordable. So there's a lot of activity going on in the Flint. We need more. Our biggest pieces up there that were abandoned properties have all been sold, and the city's recouped hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes. But there is a focus on there like never before. There's still almost all of that $1.5 million in the grant money we got from the state to work on that project. And there's a lot of good things going on. Look at the parks. Damaris Park at the end of Pleasant Street renovated. Assad Tot lot renovated. Travasos, we just redid the street hockey rink. You go out there on a Sunday morning now, There's 20 people there our ages playing street hockey, Keith. It's really great to see what's going on down there. And with a little more stimulation, a little more money, and a little more buy-in, I think we're gonna get a handle on that for the first time in a long time.
Are there any other opportunities to get more funding either from state or federal government?
Right. There's a tremendous bond that Senator Michael Roderick's and the legislature spearheaded for like $7 million. We think we can have a line on 3 or 4 of it when we have the directed needs we need for that money. We'll be okay. But there are future monies available. There's grants in place, and there's just work to do.
What about other neighborhoods in the city?
Go down to Kilburn Street in Dwelly, where the King Philip Mill, which was a disaster for so many years as almost like a toxic waste problem, is now almost full. Drive through the parking lot. I tell this story all the time. I do it on a Sunday morning and look at where all those cars are from: Nevada, Missouri, Indiana. Now a lot of them are military people looking for a reduced rent. They don't have to pay the rents on Aquidneck Island, but they're in our city, going to our restaurants, checking out our bakeries, going to Market Basket. That's money for the city of Fall River, and it's really good. We have a whole series of single-family homes going up right in front of it. And go down Dwelly Street. There's a new child care center. The Dwelly Street Armory is being renovated. There's homes being repaired. These are all things that are growing all across our city. In these little strip neighborhoods, things are turning around. Many, many houses are being renovated. And we were talking about it today at an earlier meeting. Our tax liens are down to almost nothing. We're in such a good spot compared to other communities. So there's a lot of good things going on across the city, and I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to lead it.
It seems like there's been a lot of concern for many years, even prior to your becoming mayor, about downtown. What can be done downtown? And you know, there's some empty storefronts there, some empty spaces there. That's a whole different animal, and you know, the state has chipped in with their TDI program. What can we do with downtown that hasn't already been done?
Well, downtown, again, what happened to downtown is just some planning mistakes along the way. We dropped the courthouse right in the middle of it. I don't know if that's really a big enough economic driver. Does it draw enough people? Some of our developments that went up there don't have the residents that have enough money to spend in restaurants and across the city. They're all great people. I mean, I go over there all the time and talk to them, but at the same time, you need to have a young, upscale population, not me. They can spend money, go out to eat, go to a bar, go to a restaurant, get some walking traffic downtown. It's going to be a long, heavy lift. With that being said, though, if you go in some of the buildings that the Travelers building is beautiful. Go up to that new restaurant right across from the courthouse. There are things going on, and there are proposals in place that could turn Fall River around, especially in that downtown area. But they've got to get going, they've got to get moving. We do the best we can to help them to try to get off the dime, but it's going to be a lot of private money supplemented with some state and federal funds to turn it around. But right now, that is a heavy lift.
Yeah, Charing Webb, I believe, is one of them, right? Charing Webb building downtown there is also.
That's going to be sold, I'm hearing,
right.
So that'll be another place where they're going to put some housing in. And again, with housing comes people that have disposable income that can help to keep the economy growing. It'd be great.
All right, let's talk about housing and affordable housing and rents. We've talked about this probably 2 years ago about the affordability here in Fall River, primarily when it comes to rent. This is a national issue. You know, what other things can the city do? Maybe in terms of incentivizing either current landlords to try to keep, you know, you can't ask landlords to not raise rents, right? They have bills to pay, taxes to pay, and the like. But are there some things that the city can do to incentivize, to at least hold the line, maybe on rents? Well,
we do try to add a mix. I mean, we're opening up a new three-family house on Whipple Street, which has affordable rents. We just redid Thomas Street, a two-family. A young couple bought the first floor. They're going to rent the second with an affordability factor to it. As I told you earlier, the first 14 units being redeveloped on Pleasant Street, 6 of them are going to have an affordability factor. We can't put low-income housing across the city. Fall River has 30% of its income with some kind of a subsidy or other. We we would like to see our neighboring communities get their percentage up from like 3 or 4 or 2 to somewhere around 10, which is the state requirement, and have a way to spread out this affordability factor across Bristol County. They don't seem like they want to buy into it. Fall River is trying, obviously. I'm not really keen on building like 14-story high-rises or 10-story high-rises, but adding in affordability components across developments doesn't bother me a bit, and we're doing it with another one on Bedford Street right now. They're all in the works, and we're trying to sprinkle in some more affordability, but at the same time, drawing people in that have disposable income that can keep the city moving forward.
Is there any potential movement on the former Watuppa Heights? I know that that's under the Housing Authority's purview,
Right.
but is there any? I know there's been talk for a long time about doing something there, and things have been hung up in court. So any news there?
I haven't heard anything. I know it's sitting in court right now. There's a real nice little development between the curtain lofts and the knitting mills down in the Flint. 17 units. I mean, you got to drive back there to see it. I would like to see something like that in Watuppa Heights. A few little sprinkles of things like that, which would add a nice affordability and a living factor there. I'm not against it, but at the same time, there is a state law which requires what goes on in that land, and I'm assuming everybody's going to follow it unless the state decides to change it.
Yeah. All right, I want to move on to public safety. Under your tenure, you're now under your 4th police chief, Kelly Furtado. Are you confident in her leadership thus far?
I'm very confident in Kelly Furtado's leadership, but that's not to say I wasn't confident in
Right.
Paul Garvin's or Jeff Cardoza's or Al Duperre's. You put people into a position where they can do what's best for the city. You want them to be successful. There's nobody that says, oh, he's got a new police chief, but I hope they fall on their face. I mean, maybe some really wacky people think like that, but I don't. You want people to be successful, especially in public safety, because it is a catalyst for the city, and I think Kelly's doing a great job right now.
And what about in terms of manpower? You know, we've had this conversation probably again 2 years ago, where years ago there were a lot of recruits but not enough money to pay. Now we've got the opposite. We have money to fill positions, right, but not enough recruits. How can that change?
I keep hearing by the end of the year we're going to have a full complement. We have a couple of classes going in. We have one doing their ride-along part right now where they're learning hands-on on the field. But there is a couple of classes coming. There's the civil service has acquiesced on allowing us to do the hybrid program where you get people with varied backgrounds that can go in and become policemen. So with a couple of these factors going, I've been told by the end of the year we might have a full complement of guys and girls, because a lot of them are females now, which is really good for the force.
Now, in terms of contracts with the patrol, I believe it was last year that there was a new contract with the patrolmen, and there's always an issue of when they leave, they tend to go to other communities that may be paying more, or may also not have the same inner city issues with crime that the other communities pay. Does the city have to consider maybe paying more than, to try to keep people here?
Well, if you notice, we did take steps for that, whether it's supplying the men with the force with the gear necessary to do the training, working a program with them. We gave our policemen a raise, a significant raise. I'm not opposed to that. I'd like to be competitive with all the neighboring communities because I think these people work hard. But I'm not afraid to say that about DCM, our firemen, our teachers. Fall River should be competitive. We shouldn't be out there saying, now that the other places have all vetted everybody and picked the candidates they want, you can come here for less money. I mean, if people want to criticize me for the raises given to public servants, I'll be first in line to take the hit. But I think if you give people a working wage, some respectability, and a decent amount of gear and supplies, I think it builds morale and it builds for a better workforce. So sometimes I wish there was ways to give more money to people, because that's how you keep the economy going too. But at the same time, we're not afraid to give our workers a raise.
On the other hand, city's crime rate, crime has gone down in many ways over the past few years, especially violent crime. But Fall River still lags behind a lot of other cities in the Commonwealth. being in the top 10, depending on what numbers you look at in terms of crime. Will just more officers, will that help? Will there need to be some philosophy changes? And obviously that falls under the purview of the chief in terms of making a greater impact to make sure people remain safe.
Right. I mean, that is the focus of public safety, is keeping the people safe. I didn't even mention EMS. We're working with them on a new headquarters, but that's just another thing. But back to police. You need people on the streets. You need the rebuilding of her detective division with the cast and the NEAT team, which are out there knocking on doors, going in, getting the guns before they go out the door. I'm going to jinx us, but you noticed a marked reduction in shootings and things around the city right now. But we do have a lot of people that don't want to follow the rules, and they want to act silly. Regretfully, they jack up our crime numbers, but at the same time, your crime numbers reflect the amount of people you're arresting and getting off the streets.
Yeah. I want to shift briefly to the fire department. Was there anything learned? Obviously, the fire department did it within the circumstances of the Gabriel House fire. Did a magnificent job in attacking that and saving 60 members of that community. But was there anything learned in your conversations with the Chief Bacon since then about things that can be done better? And this, you hate to see a disaster like that spear, changes, but was there anything that...
Most of my conversations with the chief since the Gabriel House fire has been about personnel, which is what we addressed in our meetings right after it. As far as equipment, the renovation of a number of issues going on across the police stations is happening right now. We're going along with a checklist that we did with the chief, and we're trying to address a bunch of issues. I anticipate the renovation of the central fire station will happen within a short span of time. And I think those are the kind of things, again, that build morale, get people back on the beam. We expect to hear, I don't know, within the next window, our SAFER grant, which Senator Markey and our Congressman Jake Auchincloss and Senator Warren are all pushing really, really hard, along with Eddie Kelly from the fire union, to try to get this approved, which will give us 10 more guys on the street and help us fulfill our promise of having at least 6 trucks with 4 guys a shift. These are all things we're working on since the fire. As far as the fire itself, I was down there that night. I thought the guys did a great job. I mean, it was a really brutal conditions. A lot of the people were not mobile. A lot of the people had lung issues and capacity issues, and they got them out of that building, carrying them down the stairs, and it was something to see. I tip my hat to the guys every time we talk about it, and out of a complete and utter tragedy, sometimes you see people doing the right thing, which is exactly what went on at that fire that night.
Have you had any further conversations with the owners, Mr. Etzkorn, at all? And
I talked to the owner today a little bit. He called me about some paperwork he needs, and I asked him how things were going. He said they're going along fine. Obviously, he's in a legal quagmire right now, so he's going to have to work his way through it on his end. I went to, I believe it was the last resident's wake on Saturday. Rashawn, he was there. There were other residents from the Gabriel House there. And it's very sad, but you got to pay respects to people. Yeah.
And have, from what you know, those who have survived, have they been placed? What's their situation? I mean, I'm sure the flux will be like that for a while.
That is exactly what it is. Keith, you can answer the question yourself. Right. You put someone in a place, and when they're used to paying $1,500 or $2,000 for assisted living at the Gabriel House, and all of a sudden it's a nursing home at $15,000 a month, then you try to move them again. Then you try to get them into another assisted living. But the work continues, and we do our best to help people. That's all we're about.
All right, I want to shift to education now. As chair of the school committee, there has been a large influx of money from the Student Opportunity Act from the state coming down. And sometimes with extra money comes extra responsibility, right? Mm-hmm. Cities' MCAS scores still remain pretty stable. I mean, they haven't gone down or up significantly. I had a chance to speak with the superintendent last week about that. How do you meet that conundrum to try? People expect more when there's more money involved, right? So how do you meet that need?
Well, you got to hire the right people and put them in the right places. That's obviously teaching, learning, administration is a very people-centered business. You have to have the right people in the right spots, and you're dealing with people's lives. These little 4- and 5-year-olds waddle into us, and they leave as 18-year-old high school graduates, and they're on with their life. Is it the military? Is it work? Is it education? We want them to be prepared. Now, I believe in my heart of hearts that our facilities are second to none. When I look at other cities across the Commonwealth, we have great school buildings. We are strengthening our instruction every year. I'm hoping that obviously it bears fruit. I believe, and I've had this conversation with the superintendent, reading is the key. I think if we can get these kids reading on grade level, I think we'll be doing much better. Obviously, we had more graduates this year because MCAS didn't count towards your graduation requirement. And that's a good thing on the one hand, but at the same time, we have to make sure they're prepared. Are they prepared to join society and contribute? And that's what education's about. You have to get people that have 100% buy-in working with kids, and you have to get parents that'll help us, and you have to get buildings they can learn in, and it all comes together in a big stew, and out pops an 18-year-old kid ready to tackle the world, and that's what we want for everybody.
In the meantime, on the other end, when youngsters are starting, pre-K has expanded, and you're still using quite a bit of Bishop Conley, right?
Yeah, we're adding like 4 more classrooms this year at Conley. I think that's been a godsend working with the bishop and Paul Brooks for the diocese. We like working with guys like that. You sit down, you talk to them, and you come to some kind of an arrangement that benefits the school. I mean, Conley closed. It's a great facility. We have all of our little pre-K kids running around out there. I've been out there a few times. It's something to see, but we're going to fix this permanently. Obviously, Fall River, unlike some other communities in Massachusetts, our enrollment is growing. I mean, I think we're going to be around 11.5 at the end of this year, maybe 11.3 to 11.5. And I was there, it was somewhere around 10.5 or 10.4. So we're going up, and we need space, and we're doing it year by year, whether it's opening Westall, 2501 South Main, going to Conley. So we're reaching out, and we're expanding, and we want people to be in a comfortable place where they have the ability to learn.
Homelessness still is an issue in Fall River. About a month ago or so, there was the police raid of the rail trail, over 30 arrests. We've talked about this many times in our conversations about the help that continues to be available to people who may need it. Yep. Nikki Fontaine and her team is doing a spectacular job. How frustrated is it for you to offer this help and then know that people sometimes will just say no and there's nothing really you can do?
The last time we were at the rail trail, one of my former students was there, and right where you enter off of Rodman Street, I was sitting on the bench talking to him. And this is exactly what you face, folks. You have to understand this is what you face. So I'm sitting there, I'm not going to say his name, and I said to him, what are you doing? And he said, I've been out here about 3 years now. He lost his wife and kids, horribly addicted. I told him to sit there. I could make a phone call, and we could have somebody come. I knew there were beds available in a treatment center in Worcester that we could get him out of there right then. And he was, going back and forth. I said, I'll get back to you. We grabbed another young man at the end of the street. I want to go. I want to get help. We got him. By the time the van pulled up with a couple of people, they were gone. Back into the city to do whatever they're going to do. I know President Trump has been trying to push some kind of forced placement. I'm not against that. I think people that can't make a clear decision, whether their heads are so fogged from alcohol, drugs, abuse, whatever, sometimes, limited cases, you have to step in and say, this is it, we're going to do something for you. And I'm not against that. I don't know where it's going to be or what it is, but at the same time, I would love to do that to some of those kids. Give them a warm bed, a meal, some counseling, let them get their lives in order for a little while and see if we can get them back into society. It is a tremendous challenge, and it is frustrating as heck. It's one of the worst parts of my job. But we never let up. We're there all the time. We talked about cleaning up the bottom of Kennedy Park yesterday. We're bringing a bin down today. There's always work to do with the homeless. They are a tremendous challenge, and we're not going to get beat by them yet.
I want to move finally a last conversation about the city's budget. Just like the school budget, you know, more money has come into the city from the state and federal government. You have consistently raised the taxes by the 2.5 threshold. And a lot of people complain about taxes going up and cost of government going up. But a lot of what makes up the city budget is really out of the control of you and the city council, right? It's not discretionary. It's non-discretionary, no. Either because of contract negotiations for employees and the like. You know, when people come up to you and say, "Mayor, how come my taxes go up? How do you answer that?"
I ask them. First of all, it's exactly what you said, mandated school spending. I mean, we're given a number, and practically we're gonna hit that number. If you don't hit it this year, you're gonna hit it next year, but you're gonna hit that number. And then I say to them, tell me what hasn't gone up in your life. Tell me what hasn't gone up. I mean, gas has come down a little bit, I'll give you that. But everything else has gone up, and everybody else is making more money. And our houses in Fall River are still going up. Some areas in the Commonwealth right now, house prices are dipping down 2-3%. We're still running 4 or 5% increase a year, if not higher. So our house values are going up. So when you buy your house in Fall River, you say to the city, I want a street I can drive on. I want water I can drink. I want schools I can send my kids to. I want to be safe, and that all costs money. We're not Flint, Michigan, where you can't drink the water and you're bringing it in bottles, or we're not a place that's so dangerous it's losing population. We're growing right now. Our population is growing. So we have to accommodate these people with those factors in mind. Do I wish everything was cheaper? Everybody that knows me knows I'm as frugal as they get. I don't want to spend money, but at the same time, you have to spend money to protect the asset you have in front of you. I looked, one lady was absolutely breathtaking. She was so angry about her water bill. And I just happened to flip through when she bought the house. I think she bought a 3-family for $100,000, which right now in the neighborhood she's in would sell for $650,000, $700,000. And I said to myself, okay, the water bill is going up, but what would happen if the water was contaminated? Your house would be worth nothing. Your value would plummet, and then you'd be down here trying to wring my neck, because that's how it works in politics. The good with the bad, it always flows along. Do I want things to be more reasonable? Absolutely. But do I know that things are going up and things cost more? Absolutely.
Final thing I'm going to ask of you today, I'm going to give you about a minute or so to speak to that camera right there to my left, and why people should consider Paul Coogan again on September 16th.
Well, most people know me by now. I mean, I'm fortunate enough. I live with my wife Judy over on Oak Grove Avenue. I had most of your kids, if they went to Durfee along the last 25 years. I got out of there in 2015. But I want you to know that every morning we go to work, and all we're looking for is ways to improve the city and make it a better place to live. I don't listen to the Facebook warriors. I don't listen to people that dwell in the darkness. I think Fall River has tremendous potential. And if we work together and we try to do what's best for the city, we're going to have a better place to live, a better place to raise our kids, and a safer, more walkable, fresher community. I need your help. On September 16th, I respectfully ask for your vote. I will not let you down. People say that, oh, it's quiet. Yeah, it is quiet. We don't do things to ruffle feathers. We don't get involved in all the shenanigans about politics. We focus on one thing, making the city a better place to live. And if you'd help me on September 16th by giving me a vote, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Mayor Paul Coogan, thank you for your time as always. We'll talk again soon.
Okay, thanks.
And thank you for joining us here at FRC Media, and please make a point to vote on Tuesday, September 16th.